Hi, and welcome back to Law, Justice, and Social Change. I am Ellie Ballard, and today we are diving into modernity and modernization. Modernity and modernization theory frames social change as a progressive, inevitable process. The criminal justice system has modernized alongside industrial society, but not without cost. Understanding these transformations helps us critically evaluate where justice is headed. Modernity refers to the cultural, intellectual, economic, and social transformations that began in the West with the Enlightenment and Industrial Revolution. The key features include this move towards urbanization, secularization, rationalization, technological advancement, and bureaucratization. Can't say that 10 times. For those of us in criminal justice, we see the rise of the modern police force, formal legal codes, and centralized court systems that came as a response to growing urban populations and the need for social order. For example, we can look at the London Metropolitan Police in 1829 and the later professionalization of the American police forces. Modernization is a theory that explains social change as a linear process of progress, from traditional societies to modern ones. There are three core assumptions. Societies evolve through similar stages. Economic growth and technological advancement drive institutional change. And modern institutions like education, our political system, law enforcement, these replace traditional forms of authority. Now, key thinkers include Durkheim and Parsons, who we've met before, and a new theorist, Rostow. Walt Rostow's theory of economic growth is also known as modernization theory. Rostow was an American economist and political theorist who developed one of the most influential linear models of economic development, and he did this during the Cold War era. His theory, known as stages of economic growth, outlines how societies progress from traditional to modern economies. Rostow envisioned 5 stages of economic growth. First is traditional society. The subsistence is on agriculture, it's limited technology, and static social structures. Economic activity is mostly local and it's primitive. Second, we have preconditions for takeoff. There's introduction of new technologies and infrastructure, like transportation or banking. The emergence of a more open and entrepreneurial class. Third, we have takeoff. This is rapid growth in industries such as textiles or maybe steel. There's an investment rises, institutions strengthen, and economic transformation just accelerates. In the fourth stage, we have this drive to maturity. There's diversification of the economy. Innovation spreads and income levels and living standards improve significantly. And lastly, we have the age of high mass consumption. The economy shifts to the consumer, and it's all about goods and services. And most citizens enjoy high living standards, education, and even an urban lifestyle. Now, it's developed in the 1960s, and Rostow's theory really was a direct response to Marxist models of development, and it promoted capitalism and free market economies as a path to progress. And this really aligns with the U.S. Foreign policy goals during the Cold War. Now, there are some criticisms. It assumes all countries follow the same path. It ignores historical factors like colonialism or probably larger, in this moment, global inequality. It overemphasizes Western values and consumerism as the ideal endpoint. Modernization theory argues that legal systems must evolve to support complex industrialized societies. Now, examples would include professionalization of policing, this transition from volunteer or community watch systems to this state-run bureaucratic police departments. There's an emphasis on training, specialization, and standardization. We also expect the expansion of legal rights. The due process protections like Miranda rights reflect the rationalization of law. Justice becomes rule-bound and not personal or arbitrary. Then we have technological surveillance. Modernization introduces things like biometrics or predictive policing algorithms, and mass surveillance tools. Now, of course, all of these things are seen as increasing efficiency, but it also raises concerns about civil liberties. Some call this surveillance capitalism. Tools like facial recognition are modern, but also deeply invasive and disproportionately used on poor communities. In addition, we see body cameras introduced to promote transparency, but who controls the footage and how is it used? So what's the difference between traditional and modern justice? Well, traditional societies often use restorative justice models like tribal counselors or elder mediation. Modernity emphasizes punitive justice, incarceration, formal sentencing, rigid hierarchies. It seems, though, with the introduction of restorative justice, it looks like we might be ready to return to community-based justice, especially in schools and local community courts. Okay? Thanks for joining me. Please reach out to your instructor if you have any questions.